Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me keep it. Yeah. Okay, tell me your doubts, people.
Sir, in evolution.
In what?
In evolution.
In evolution, yeah.
Can you explain a little about divergent and convergent homology? I didn't get that.
Yep. Yes, sure. So you want me to go over convergent and divergent evolution, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to evolution a bit. Yep. Okay, so you all can see the screen clearly?
Yes.
Okay, very well. So before we go to convergent and divergent evolution, let me just tell you that we know that uh, when we were discussing this chapter, when we were studying this chapter, we started with evidences, right?
Yes.
Right. And convergent and divergent evolution started as a as a as a theory because people started thinking that maybe this could be a reason how evolution, or this could be a mechanism or a way how evolution operates. But then we needed proof, so in science, it's always like you have some idea, and then you, to test that idea, you gather proof, or you look for evidences that support that hypothesis. Or if your hypothesis is not correct, then while you are gathering support, you will also get evidences that will refute that idea. So about convergent and divergent evolution, under so it comes under, so should we start overall with evidences of evolution, because that will also cover 2-3 other topics. Is it okay?
Yes. Sir.
Yeah. So we talked about fossil records. So first thing that tells us about evolution is, because see, we are talking about life that we never saw, that existed on Earth way before humans arrived, or way before humans evolved. So how do we know that whatever we are thinking is correct? So if what we are thinking is correct, then we will get to see um, in the fossil records organisms that are completely different in their morphology and anatomy from what we see today around us, and yet we will be able to make some similarities among them, right? So that way we can say that, see, your life was very different back then, but still it was connected to what life is currently. Okay, so fossil records are the remains of the hard parts of life, as you can see here, trapped in the rock. And when we study the fossil records in different layers of earth, so different layers will be telling us about, it's like a time, we are looking at a time chart. So as we go deeper in the earth, deeper layers are the older layers, right? So they will tell us about the geological period. And as I told you, we can do carbon dating and uranium dating to get to know the age of that fossil. Okay, now, so that was first. Then we realized that we don't have to always look at the fossils. We can also look at what's currently available to us, like organisms of the present life. In embryology, you will realize that that also supports evolution, where we see that the first stage embryos, regardless of which organism it is coming from, so basically I'm talking about vertebrates. So in all the vertebrates, from fish to human, the first stage embryo looks similar, very, very similar to each other, right? And even in the human embryo, we have certain characters like gill slits and tailbird, which is not a human character. So once a human baby is born, we are not born with gills, or we are not born with a tail, but we have those characters in the embryonic stage. Now that raises question that if humans are special and different from everyone else, why does our embryo have a tail and gills to begin with, which later on we are lost during the development? Okay, so this again tells us about evolution. The third thing that we went on to see is among the life that we have currently around us, there is comparative evidence. So if we compare the anatomy and morphology of different organisms, we will see that there is a comparative anatomical and morphological evidence that tells us about um, the differences and the similarities between the present living organisms and also among the organisms that existed in the past. Okay, so while doing that, we got to know of one thing which are called homologous organs. So we have figured out that there are organs that might look um, similar anatomically, but are serving different purposes functionally. Okay, so these are called homologous. So the word homologous comes from homology. It means that coming from the same kind of origin, so same anatomical origin but different functions. In plants, the example is your tendrils, okay, and thorns, right? So if you'll see anatomically, tendrils and thorns both are similar organs, right? Anatomically, they are originated from the similar tissues of the plant, but in different plant. In bougainvillea, the thorn serves the purpose of the function is protection, whereas in a cucurbita climber, you will see tendrils that help the climber to hold on to some substrate and move or grow upwards. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So we also have evidences of such kind of homologous organs in animals, in large variety of animals, ranging from humans, which is a primate, to like again to non-primate mammals like cheetah, whale, and bat. So bat is aerial or arboreal. Whale is aquatic. Cheetah lives in, so it's called a tetrapod. It walks on four appendages, four limbs, and primate or man is called bipedal. We walk on two. So we all are adapted or evolved for different habitats. But if you look at the four limb structure, you will see that there is a lot of similarity in the four limb structure anatomically. Morphologically, there might be variations because that depends on what function they are serving. So so four limb for a human is used for gripping, doing fine activities, holding, climbing, you know, um, uh, writing, etc. So with hands, so if you see that we have a humerus, two bones in the forearm, which is ulna and radius, and carpals, metacarpals, and in the fingers we have phalanges. Okay, you will see a similar structure in a cheetah's forelimb, where the cheetah's forelimb has a humerus. That humerus is a little reduced as compared to the humerus of a man, and ulna and radius is longer with respect to humerus because of how cheetah uses the forelimb. So cheetah does not lifts or holds with his forelimb, but uses it to run. Okay, so the forelimbs look very similar to the hind limbs in that case, but you will see that the arrangement anatomically is same. Same is in a flipper of a whale because whale is also a mammal. So whale also has a humerus. If you see here, okay, then there is a ulna and radius, carpal, metacarpal, and phalanges. So it has the extended phalanges, but again the what do you say? The arrangement is same. Okay, same is in the wings of a bat. So this is used as a wing to fly, this is used as a flipper to swim, this is used as a forelimb to run, and this is used as a hand to hold. Okay, so similarity is there in anatomy, but diversity is there in function. Now this type of adaptive evolution is known as uh, divergent evolution. Okay, so divergent simply means that organisms which were closely related, or whose ancestors were closely related, or back in time, long back in time, who shared a common ancestor, later on diverged into different groups. Some became, so a group called human evolved, and humans were very different from cheetah, but still you will find that they have comparative anatomy. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So homology indicates common ancestry. Okay, and provides evidence for divergent evolution. So is divergent evolution clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rifat. Okay, very well. So now let's come to convergent evolution, and for that, the opposite of what we saw in divergent evolution, which is homologous organs. Now we will see analogous organs. Now, analogous organs are those organs which have a different anatomical structure, which means the ancestors were not common. So they are not coming from a common origin. So they have very different structures, anatomical structures for those organs, but somehow these organs evolved to perform a similar function. Okay. Now you can, if I ask you, why do you think, so it is easier to understand that common organs, when they go in different environment and start living and start adapting and evolving there, similar organs can take up different functions. But under what condition do you think that different organs, which are anatomically very different, can take up similar function? When can that happen? What do you think? Am I audible, people?
Yes.
Hello?
Sir, you're audible.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think there's some bandwidth. Okay, so my question is, under what conditions do you think organisms can have different, anatomically different organs taking up similar roles or serving common functions in evolution? Just give the answer in your words. You need not to be, you know, technically correct in terminologies. Just tell me. Try to explain me what do you think. Anyone would like to try?
Sir, maybe because of like environmental factors.
Yes, Fatima, correct. You are perfectly correct. Yeah. So in the last question, in the last case also, it was environmental factors. I'm just asking what environmental factors do you think? So in the last case where there was homologous organs, the factors were that similar, so organisms from a common origin went and started adapting and evolving in different environments. In this case, what do you think is happening? Yeah, of course, it is environmental factors. But what kind of environmental factors? And you can take any example and tell me. Does it make even sense to you that analogous and homologous organs can evolve? Forget about evidences. Let's suppose you were the one back 200 years, 300 years ago who was trying to put this forth. So do you think that this idea even makes sense?
Sir, because of the environmental factors, they need to survive sometimes.
They need to survive every time. So that's a very good point. So
Can it
yeah,
also be like since like a bird and a butterfly, they kind of
perfect.
have like a same like kind of like a similar habitat. That's why
Mhm.
they to fly.
Uh,
But still they're like the function is same, but the structure is different.
Perfect. So that's a very, very good example. So this is what the early pioneer scientists think. And so you are not very different from them, right? So you need to realize that don't hesitate in answering. So you all are smart enough to think logically. Every time you have to be correct, there is no pressure for that. You can afford to be wrong. All our greatest of the great scientists were wrong at many times. That's what science teaches you, to be humble. No one is supreme authority in science. Only one thing is supreme authority in science, and that is logic. So you can be wrong, it's perfectly fine. But this time it's a correct thinking that the reason could be that they are different organisms, but they are sharing same kind of factors, or they are sharing same environment. So the example given by who was it? Was it Fatima? Butterfly and bird example? Yes. So Fatima gave an example of butterfly and bird. So butterfly has to fly, okay? To the mode of its locomotion is flying. Bird also evolved to be aerial and flies, right? But there are a lot of differences between a bird and a butterfly. A bird is a vertebrate, a butterfly is an invertebrate, is an insect, arthropod. A bird can maintain its own body temperature, a butterfly cannot. A bird has feathers, bones, a butterfly has none of it. But still, both of them fly. So clearly, the organs that allow the bird to fly and the butterfly to fly are very different. Okay, but still, the function is same. So if you look at the wings of a bird, a butterfly, or a bat, for a bat it is a skin flap, no feathers. For a butterfly, it is chitinous structure, again no feathers, right? But for a bird, it is feather based wings, right? And it has a bony skeleton inside, right? But the
Yes.
function, at the functional level, all of them help in one common function, which is flight. So it tells that biology always finds a way, life finds a way. There is no one way to fly in biology. You can fly by multiple ways, correct? And multiple different organisms coming from different origins have evolved different abilities or different organs with which they fly. The same holds true for all other major activities that animals are adapted to in nature. Okay, so when scientists started studying analogous organs, they realized that analogous organs are a result of convergent evolution, and hence they also provide an evidence for convergent evolution. Now, what is a convergent evolution? Convergence says to come together. So here they realize that different kinds of organisms, when were tested. So for example, uh, if I if I start testing people from different background, for example, people from science background, commerce background, humanities background, you know, all the different backgrounds, on one common thing, like the stressor is to um, do mathematics faster, so do calculations faster. So you will develop that skill, right, over time. Not a very well put example, but do you understand what's happening here? So a butterfly, bird, and a bat are very different organisms: mammal, birds, and insects. but the stressor was to fly. Those who will be better at flight will be better at survival. Okay, do you understand?
Yes.
Great. So that is called convergent evolution. So there are other examples where eyes of octopus, humans and insects, ears of humans, reptiles and other mammals, flippers of dolphins and penguins. Remember that penguins are birds, dolphins are mammals. In plants, potato and sweet potato, they are different organs. Sweet potato is a root, potato is a stem, but their common function is to store food, correct? And other examples that we did. So these are convergent and divergent evolution. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
As a doubt, is it clear, Ifat?
Yes,
Any
sir.
other doubt? Good evening, Donna and Hiba.
Good evening, sir.
Doubts that you have? You might have. No one has any other doubts from evolution? So today we'll be doing questions from this part. Okay. Multiple choice questions. But before that, please go through your notebook, NCRT, or these notes and let me know if any part is not clear to you before we go to questions. Adaptive radiation is clear to all of you? I think this we did, right? The first thing. It's an important topic. Branching descent is clear. Okay, Lamarckism, is it clear to all of you? And also why it was discarded as a theory? Donna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, would you like to quickly give us a flavor of Lamarckism? What is it and why it was discarded as a theory? In short, not too much of details in depth.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lamarck basically stated that evolution of life forms had occurred and driven by the use and disuse of organs.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the example of giraffes to like present his facts, which was um, giraffes who attempted to reach for the leaves from taller trees had to
Mm-hmm.
hence they adapted to a longer neck, and that's how their neck got longer,
Mm-hmm.
is what he
So
stated.
he,
But
yeah, so he
yeah,
basically observed some phenomena that giraffe have longer necks, and then he saw that all other related species. So how do we find related species? Again, on the basis of anatomy. So he found that related species who are herbivores, grazing animals, and also the fossil records that we have do not support very long necked organisms right from the beginning. So this was clear that they evolved from something, they came up. How they came up, that mechanism was not clear to anyone. So Lamarck came up with one idea. Okay, coming up with ideas is very revered and respected in science, even though that idea is proven not completely true or wrong at a later time point, but that's how it adds to science, right? So what Donna is saying that later on, so he used a concept to argue the facts that we have now, that giraffe has longer necks and related cattle and other even the ancestors of giraffe whose fossils records have been found were not having that longer a neck. So how did the necks become longer? Yes, continue, Donna.
and later on it was the theory was rejected because I think there was no
Mm-hmm,
mechanism was proposed to like how this would take place. He just stated it according to his observation,
mm-hmm.
and so it was rejected by everyone.
Yeah, correct. So so thing is that in science, more than rejections, what matters is not accepted. Okay, so it was not accepted very widely, though it was accepted by some who realize, okay, it makes sense. What Lamarck is saying makes sense. That's how Lamarckism came and the doctrine of desire came, and Lamarckism had followers, people who were trying to prove it, but the theory was eventually disproven, okay, by evidences, observational evidences, and fossil record and anatomical evidences as well. So correct, good. So that's an important um, topic, and I think Hardy-Weinberg principle is clear to all of you. Today we'll be doing questions on Hardy-Weinberg principle. So I'll give you a question on Hardy-Weinberg principle to solve. So is it clear to all of you? Anyone who has a doubt in Hardy-Weinberg principle? No one has a doubt? Okay, that's very good then. Cool. So this is the summary for plant. Again, you would look. So I'm giving you some time. Please look at this table and ask if you have any doubt, because some questions come directly from this diagram in your boards as well as in the entrance. Just look at this table. And if I ask all of you to just tell me one most important one liner, it could not be the complete picture, but just one thing that you see in this table and you want to tell. So starting with Rifat, we'll go Rifat, Hiba, Fatima, and Dona. So just one line that you realize is being depicted from this table. The most important according to you. Rifat? Just one thing. It could be anything. There are many things that you can get to know from this diagram. What is the one thing that you got to know?
It starts from chlorophyte ancestors and then
Yeah, we can make it start from anywhere. So that could not be what you learn from the graph. What do you see in this graph in general? It could be a general statement or something specific which you find is important. Now it does not start from chlorohydrin, it starts from tracheophyte ancestors. Okay, if I shift it like this. But anyways, or let me put Rifat's point better. So what Rifat is trying to say could be that the earliest plant ancestors were chlorophyte, the kind of organisms that started that had the chlorophyll, first evidences of chlorophyll in their cells, right?
yes.
Yeah, good. Fatima or Hiba? Hiba? Are you there, Hiba? I don't think Hiba can respond, or I think, yeah, okay, going to Fatima. One take home line from this.
The seed ferns got divided into cycads and dicotyledons, which then dicotyledons also got like they developed a monocotyledon.
Yes, perfect. And you can also add that the seed ferns are the ancestors for the most abundant plant on the planet right now, which is angiosperms, right? Angiosperms could be both dicots or monocots, correct? So
Yes.
dicots did not, we just know, we have some evidence suggesting that dicots came first, but that's not very conclusive because a recent discovery about the time of dinosaurs also tells that maybe grasses that we think, so we believe that monocots came later on. So first develop the trees or the dicots, then develop monocots. But we're not very conclusive. We have a suggesting trend. That's why dicots are showing a little down in this graph. So a little earlier, and then later on monocots came. But basically dicots and monocots both constitute angiosperms, and we know that the broadest that you see is the angiosperm branch, and it came. It is the most dominating kind of plants, correct? And you're right. They at one point of time, seed ferns diverged into cycads, which are not very dominant on the planet right now. But if you see at one point of time, if you can see my cursor, everyone can see my cursor. During the Jurassic period, if you see, cycads were more prominent than dicots, monocots, or angiosperms, right? Very thin branch. So during the Jurassic era, you will see conifers, cycads, ferns, and bryophytes dominating. But as we come to Quaternary era today, almost conifers have now reduced, cycads have also reduced, ferns are more or less the same, and bryophytes are also more or less the same, but angiosperms have just blasted, you know, very wide. So the planet is mostly dominated by angiosperms. So very good observation. Fatima, Donna, what do you? One key take home.
So, can we say that bryophytes were originated earlier than vascular plants like pteridophytes?
Yes, correct. So you can say that bryophytes are one of the most oldest evolved plants, right? And they somewhere come directly after chlorophyte ancestors, before any tracheophytes or xylophytans or rhinia type plants evolved, right? Good, very good, good observation. Okay, yes, I think, okay, Donna has written the same. Yes, you can say that, that's correct. And in the same way, quickly about this graph then. So now we'll go in the reverse order. Donna, Fatima, and Hiba. Rifat is having some issues with the network. She will rejoin. Okay, Donna, let's start with you. Anyone take home? Key take home. You can take time. It's not like no pressures. You don't have to be a rapid. It's not a rapid fire round. Just look at it. There are many lines going crisscross here and there. Whenever you're ready, Donna.
Multicellular organs organisms had evolved from unicellular organisms?
So nowhere in this graph, this graph talks about unicellular. It actually starts from early reptiles. If you see 350 million years ago, so this is, I think, yes, this is a million years ago. So it is a graph starting from midway somewhere. It only talks about reptile onwards. Right?
Invertebrates originated and were active.
And there's no invertebrate also in this graph because reptiles are vertebrates. Even there is no, so the vertebrates are also not complete. There is no fish and amphibian in this graph. Can you pay attention to this? It starts with reptiles. So only reptiles, birds, and mammals are there. No amphibian, no fish, no insects, no invertebrates, no worms, nothing.
Mm,
Yeah. Fatima, would you like to start with some key point that Donna can follow?
The earliest stage was from early reptile, which
Mhm.
then into around at 300 million years ago is when synapsids was
Yes.
there,
So
and
yes.
from that is where the Pelycosaurus were evolved.
Yep. Good. So what Fatima is saying, let me elaborate on that point for Donna, is that the earliest point of divergence was that we know of is synapsids and sauropsids from the early reptiles. And synapsids are the one that went on to make mammals. Okay, so these synapsids are ancestors of mammals. Okay, direct ancestors of mammals, all mammals, including us humans. Whereas sauropsids, the word saur comes for lizards. That's why they were called dinosaurs. They were big lizards. So sauropsids formed turtles, okay, directly, lizards, snakes, tuataras, crocodiles, and even dinosaurs. And dinosaurs extincted somewhere between Cretaceous and Tertiary extinction, and this extinction is called KT extinction. Okay, so sauropsids are the ancestors for all the lizards, reptiles, and dinosaurs, and synapsids are the ancestors for mammals. That's good, Fatima. Donna, how would you like to add something to it?
can we say that the land reptiles were dinosaurs, and
Uh-huh.
in which the T-Rex was the largest one?
Yeah, so we don't know about T-Rex at all from this graph. This is just a representative picture. We don't know if it's T-Rex, okay? It just looks like it. But what we can say is, you can say that um, one of the largest or the biggest land reptiles were dinosaurs, right, which are extinct. So, and you will see that dinosaurs is the only branch which is shown here that doesn't reach the quaternary. So turtles were from very early stages. So ancestors of turtles, the fossils are found very early in Permian, Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, every period. Same goes for almost snakes. So snakes started coming after Triassic. So you will find their fossils in Jurassic period, here in Cretaceous period, in Tertiary period. Even when the extinction of dinosaur happened, turtles, lizards, snakes, they did not become extinct, right? And soon after, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these things can be taken out from this graph. Okay, now let's quickly, I'm giving you 2 minutes to check and ask if you have any doubts. By the time I'm pulling out some, let's quickly go to some questions, some concept based previous year's questions that we are going to do. Okay, so I found it. Okay, let's. Okay, can you all see the screen that I am sharing, people? Can everyone see the screen that I'm sharing? Am I audible? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's do some questions. So how it works is, again, I will tell you questions and someone will read, and then you have to send me your answers in the chat as quick as you can. So I would like if you can send your answers within a minute. That will be the best, because that will be how you're going to be you will be quizzed in your entrances. So you have 180 questions for 3 hours, which is 180 minutes, sometimes 150, sometimes 160, based on different entrances. So I will take some complicated concept based questions first. Okay, question number 3. You have to use some, it's about origin of life, use some concepts. So Donna, would you like to read question number 3? If you can see question number 3. Is it okay?
Yes, it's visible. And now it's not.
Sorry. Is it now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Please read.
Which one of the following experiments suggests that simplest living organisms could not have originated spontaneously from non-living matter? A. Larvae could appear in decaying organic matter. B. Microbes can appear on bread kept at a moist place. C. Microbes appear on unsterilized organic matter. And D. Meat was not spoiled when heated and kept sealed in a vessel.
Yes, so just to give you a quick background. So remember in NCRT they start with an experiment where people used to think, when first philosophers came, science started with philosophy, right? So people started asking questions. So these were thinkers and philosophers who started asking questions about the natural world. So how does life evolve? Or so before that, how does life originate? Where does life come from? So there was a theory called, many theories were there, like vital force theory, and someone said that life just appears from nowhere. You know, it's an act of God, and it just comes out from nowhere at the will of the supreme creator. So that theory was challenged by scientists that it's not possible that life can come out of nothing or nowhere. So let's see if we can gather some evidence to refute this or to prove it in the way. So the question is, later on it was found that it's not possible that life can originate spontaneously from non-living matter. But the question is asking, which of the following experiments suggest or convinces you that simple living organisms cannot originate spontaneously from non-living matter? Yes, your answers in the chat. All these options are very confusing, and all these options make sense, but you have to give the answer for the question that is asked. The question is, which of these four will you do to prove someone that see life cannot originate spontaneously from non-living matter? Yes, Fatima, that's correct answer, and that's quite good. It's fast and correct. If anyone finds difficulty, just write in the chat that you are finding difficulty with that question. Think again, Heba. It's not the correct option. So, yes, Donna, that's correct. Heba, would you like to give it another try before I discuss the answer? Okay, so the correct answer is option D, okay, which says that meat was not spoiled when heated and kept sealed in a vessel, right? So when you heat, so the idea the idea was that people used to see that if you keep something somewhere, some larvae or some maggots start crawling in that piece of flesh or something edible. Okay, so in the dead and decaying matter, larvae could come. Now it is a dead substance. In that dead substance, larvae starts appearing. And these larvae are not from the same species, which is dead now. These are different larvae. Now, where do the larvae of flies come from? So people started thinking that flies just come there. They just appear there whenever they find a decaying organic matter. So the experiment that was done to disprove that is like, if you say that or life can originate or organisms can originate spontaneously, then if I heat a meat, okay, so which is a dead tissue, if I heat it, whatever spores were already deposited or got deposited from the environment will be killed. And if I now keep it sealed in a vessel, if life could just appear from non-living matter, there is lots of non-living matter still available. There is a vessel, airtight container, so life should come. But if you keep it sealed, like in an airlock or a vessel, there will be no life coming on that decaying matter. So this disproved that life can spontaneously originate. There is always that you need some spore of bacteria, some contamination, spore of fungi, spore of bacteria, spore of something, or a seed or a pollen. Something should be there which contains living system that grows when it gets a nutritive medium. So the correct answer is D. Is it clear, everyone? Make sense? Yeah. Okay. Now, one more conceptually important question is this one. Question number 9. Fatima, will you read question number 9?
Yes, sir. In the experiment in given diagram, which of the following groups of gases were used to simulate primitive atmosphere? Option A, N2, H2, CH4, C2H6. Option B, NH3, H2O, CH4, H2. Option C, N2O, H2O, NO2, SO2. Option D, CH4, H2, NO2, SO2.
Yep. Yes, Hiba, that's correct. Fast and correct. Very good. Right answer, Fatima. Good. We are waiting for your answer, Donna. Yes, perfect. Good, Donna. It took some time, but that's correct answer. So it's good. Okay. Now moving from origin of life, some evidence, some questions based on. Yeah. So question 31 we just discussed. I'm sure that you all know that these are, what are they? Homologous organs, right? Is it clear? So wherever you see these diagrams, they are homologous organs. Similar, same organs anatomically that do different functions. And again, which correctly describes homologous organs is organs with anatomical similarities but performing different functions. So option A is correct here. So I'll be going to some. So as you can see that on convergent and divergent evolutions, there can be many questions. Now I want you to read question number 37, which is slightly convoluted but a very easy in question if you know the concept. So Donna, would you like to read this? Rifat has joined back. So Rifat, we are doing some question answers based on concepts of evolution. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to write the answer in the chat once someone will end up reading the question. So Donna, would you like to read the question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question 37.
Yep.
In evolution, the studies can be made at molecular level. For example, the proteins present in the blood of man and ape are similar. The base sequence in nucleic acid and amino acid sequence in proteins of related organism is alike. These are the examples which are specifically referred to in convergent evolution, B. Molecular analogy, C. Molecular homology, and D. Homoplastic appearance.
Yes. Just think carefully. Yes, Fatima, that's correct answer. Very good. Correct, Donna. Good. Correct, Hiba. Okay, I think Rifat is also sent. Yes, correct. So all of you has given the correct answer, and that's very good. So the correct answer is option C, molecular homology. And I think because all of you has given the correct answer, I hope uh, all of your rationale was that at a molecular level, what all these examples are telling you is that there is similarity at the molecular level, right? But when we see the organism, those are very different from each other, right? So even if you look at human and ape, at the molecular level, the blood of a human and ape are very, very similar, like very, very similar, correct? So it is about not about anatomical homology. This is molecular homology. correct?
Yes.
If there was molecular homology option was not there, then what do you think, which option would have been the correct option if instead of molecular homology, if I put that option? This is a hot question, high order thinking question. If I remove molecular homology as an option, what option would you like to put in which still will keep it correct? So option C will still be correct.
So option D.
Option D. No. So from these options, only C is correct. Okay. It's not
Yeah.
like D. Homoplastic appearance is not a correct option. My question is, I am not allowed to use molecular homology in one of the in the option. Okay. Apart from molecular homology, all three are wrong. We know that. So what should I put in place of molecular homology, which should be the correct option, but not molecular homology? The hint is option A.
Divergent evolution.
Perfect. So molecular homology, just like anatomical homology, is a proof of divergent evolution. Okay. Molecular analogy is a proof of convergent evolution. Do you understand, everyone?
Yes.
So the same question can come without an option of molecular homology, but a divergent evolution in place. So that will be the correct option. Okay. That's why I wanted to discuss this question. Cool. Now let's also, okay. Yes, on biological evolution, there is one question. Yes, this one. Question number 51. Will you read? Oh no. Yeah, question number 51. Rifat, will you read question number 51?
Yes, sir. Read the following statements carefully and select the correct ones. Alfred Wallace, a naturalist who worked at Malay
Archipelago.
archipelago, had also come to similar conclusions as Darwin around the same time. Second,
Now remember, you have not heard about all these names, okay? But remember you don't have to choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. The options are below, which are either 1 and 3, 1 and 2, things like that. So I just want to see if something comes which is slightly out of the textbook. So how will you handle it? That's why. Sorry. Yes, Rifat. Go on.
August Westman, by careful experimentation, demonstrated that life comes only from pre-existing life. Third, the organs which have the same fundamental structures but are different in functions are called homologous organs. Fourth, rate of appearance of new form is inversely proportional to lifespan of organisms.
Yep. Option A, B, C, and D, which is the correct option. That's correct, Fatima. Good. Good, Rifat. That's correct. Correct, Hiba. Yes, that's correct, Donna. So all of you got the correct answer, and I hope so. The correct answer is option A, which is statement 1 and 3 are the correct ones. Now, out of all the fours, 3 is for sure correct, right? Make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So the correct option must be having 3, the statement third, which is either option A and option D. So in these kind of questions, sometimes the trick is you figure out which you for 100% sure is the correct or the incorrect ones. Sometimes they ask which of the following are the incorrect ones. So read the question carefully first. Just adding in front of this correct will just make it all different. So then the option will be 2 and 4. Okay, option C. So always read carefully what are they asking, correct ones or incorrect ones. Okay, they will not ask correct ones all the time. That's the trick. If they're asking correct ones, then out of the 4 or 5, whatever number of statements are there, know that which for sure, and there will always be one for sure which is directly a line from NCRT, and you will know that it is correct or not. So third is correct. The organs which have the same fundamental structure but are different in function are called homologous organs. So you have to look which have third. So C and B does not have 3. So C and B could not be the right option because they do not have statement 3, and statement 3 is correct. So it's either A or D. Now you have to look at 1 and 4. Okay. So 1, Alfred Wallace, a naturalist who worked in Malay archipelago, also came to similar conclusions as Darwin, which is correct. Wallace wrote those who don't know, just you can write down that Wallace wrote a essay on populations. So he was also trying to figure out how life evolved, different types of life, different forms of life. Why are there so many different birds? Because he was not convinced by the theory of creationism in the way that, okay, if someone intelligently designed each and every bird in each and every animal, why are there so many birds which look almost the same, behave almost the same, but has just one difference in their beak or in their leg or in their neck or in their eyes or in their plumage pattern or color or something? Okay. Why are there so many different types of dove? Why are there so many different types of crow? Okay, finches for that matter. So Darwin extensively studied finches, so that's why they're known as Darwin's finches. But Wallace also worked along the same lines and come to the same similar conclusions as Darwin. The only point is that he did not get that popular or accepted or famous. Okay, but 4, rate of appearance of new form, which means new kind of ability or a new beak or something, rate of appearance of new form or new species is inversely proportional to lifespan is not correct. Okay, it does not mean that does not mean that those who have a longer lifespan will not evolve or uh, new form will come up very fast. It's not like that. Okay, so is that clear, everyone? Good, all of you got the right. Now let's go to a little more confusing mechanisms based questions, mechanism of evolution based questions. And I want you, welcome to Hardy Winberg. Yes, question number 67. Another. Takes sometimes more time, but is easier to, these type of questions are easier to do and also very easy to make silly mistakes on in. Rifat, okay, I think Rifat wrote the last. Fatima, would you like to read question 67?
Yes, sir. Match the column 1 with column 2 and select the correct option from the given codes. Column 1, A, saltation, B, formation of life was preceded by chemical evolution, C, reproductive fitness, D, life comes from pre-existing life. Column 2, 1, Darwin, 2, Louis Pasteur, 3,
De Vries.
De Vries.
It's the same, Hugo de Vries.
For Operin and Haldane.
Yes, correct. Tell me your answers in the chat. Okay, so I have received your answers, and the right answer is, okay, so who has, I have received two answers from Hiba. Hiba, which one do you stand by? The second one or the first one? Okay, Rifat and Fatima, correct answers. Hiba, correct answer. Okay, Donna. Okay, so the right answer is A, option A. According to me, let's see. Let's see if it is, because I think it is A. So A, which is saltation, goes with Hugo de Vries, because there will always be one that you know for sure. So I know for sure that saltation was figured out by Hugo de Vries, and that happens to be the only case. A is for 3 here. So for me, I think it's option A. Let's see other options. B, formation of life was preceded by chemical evolution, goes with Operin and Helden. Correct, right? Because Operin and Helden first proposed it, which Urey Miller actually then did in their experiment, right? Experimentally was proved by Urey and Miller's experiment, but Operin and Helden was the first to give the idea or the proposal. Okay, they did not do the experiment. But still, B goes with 4, correct. C, which is reproductive fitness, of course, goes with Darwin. So this is, I think most of you know that when Darwin talked about fitness, it was always reproductive fitness. We have talked about it numerous times, correct? And then life comes from pre-existing life. D was Louis Pasteur, because he was the one who did that experiment where they heated and pasteurized kind of meat and organic matter, and then they saw that no growth was there in that organic matter. Is that clear to you, Donna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So right option is A. Okay. Okay. Now from Hardy Winberg, as I told you that we will be doing some questions. So question number 69. Who's going to read? Donna, will you read question number 69? And this is
Yes,
the,
sir.
yeah, and you have to solve this question. So try to be fast. Try to do it within a minute and a half. Yes, Donna.
At a particular locus, frequency of allele A is 0.6 and that of allele small a is 0.4. what would be the frequency of heterozygotes in a random mating production at equilibrium?
Population,
A, 0.
random mating population.
Population at equilibrium. A 0.36, B 0.16, C 0.24, and D 0.48.
Yeah. Use the formula given by Hardy and Winberg and solve it. Yes, Donna, that's correct answer. Yes, you're right about the equation as well. Rifat, that's correct. Fatima and Hiba. Correct, Hiba. That's a correct answer. Good, correct, Fatima. So all of you are giving correct answers. Very few of you have given wrong answers at times. So the correct answer is option D, 0.48, because you know how to do it now. So the formula is E square plus 2pq plus q square is equal to 1, correct? So you will take the frequency of allele A as P, the frequency of allele small a as Q, correct? And then you have to do 2pq, correct? So 2 into 0.6 into 0.4, correct? This is what all of you did, because they are asking you for heterozygotes. Yes, the same question could have asked you for a homozygous dominant allele, which is capital A, or a homozygous recessive allele, which is small a. So you had to do accordingly. If they would have asked for a homozygous dominant allele, which is this, so it would be square. So it will be 0.36. And for our homozygous recessive allele small a, it will be 0.16. Okay, so if you add 0.48, 0.36 and 0.16, it will be 1. Total will be 1. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.